Okay, it's 9 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Are there any additions to the agenda? Rex? Rex has moved the agenda. No questions. All in favor? Carried. Adoption of minutes, June 16, 2017, regular council meeting minutes. Ben has moved. Is there any questions or concerns? All in favor? Carried. June 20th, 2017, regular council meeting minutes. Bernice has moved. Is there any questions or concerns? All in favor? Carried. Items for discussion. Electoral Boundaries Commission. 2.1A. Has anyone studied the commission, the area, or Ben?
There we go. Through the chair, I've looked at it. I haven't gone through the whole thing, but I've looked at the boundaries, and we brought it up for discussion last week at our Strathmore Brooks meeting. And the issue there, according to the Reeve of Newell, Molly, they're not dissatisfied with it. As long as they're appealing a portion of it, that they've lost some of their area south on the southwest corner. They're going to make an application to try and get so that their municipality is all enclosed in whatever area it is. And they asked me before that, though, the mayor of Brooks wasn't dissatisfied with it. We discussed how Strathmore Brooks had worked together, and it was fine. We never had any issues. And I said that last time they went through this, the council's biggest concern was that we have one MLA representing us because of the issues we had with the two MLAs, the one on the north side, one that's never getting along. And I said, I think that's going to be our biggest concern this time, is that we stay in one. And to me, we have partnerships with the Drumheller area and north in there with our solid waste. That's our zone 2 is part of that area. I said personally, I don't care if Oyon's in it or out east. The only one that's got a concern is Fildebrandt. And then we discussed Derek and his presentation that he's trying to get. And he's trying to maintain Strathmore Brooks. But the discussion at our Strathmore Brooks PC meeting was, if we're going to raise an issue with it, we have to come up with a really good alternate. Because they're destroying three districts, and they're going to do that. So how do you do that? How are they going to do that? And if we want to stay as we are, we better come up with a very good reason. And my fear, and some of the ones that were there from the Strathmore area, their fear is if we raise too much, we're going to get split. So,
Alice?
Haven't got there. Yeah, that was my concern with the actual size of what we're trying to accomplish. How is one person going to look after that? And if not, how many people are going to be looking after it? So you think there'd be two different people, Ben? No?
the issue with Brooks, Newell, and what I was talking about there, the size wasn't an issue. My comments were, the MLA we've got now doesn't give a dink. Tinker's Dam of what's east of Strathmore anyways, so
Yeah.
what difference does it make to him if it's out to Saskatchewan? What Fildebrandt is doing is trying to protect his domain so that he can stay in there for what's coming next.
Yeah, but I
And
wasn't.
this will destroy what he's looking at.
Yeah, and I wasn't concerned about Fildebrandt. I was looking at the residents So our ratepayers, it's miles and miles of miles and miles, right? So how does one person really do justice to all the people that live in that area? Because it is such a big area. That was my biggest concern for when I looked at it.
It's, if you put somebody in there as an MLA that knows the area and is more central, it's only, like from my place to Hannah is only 100 kilometers. That's 60 miles. And you take another 60 miles and go east there, you're into Oyen. So it's only 120 kilometers to Oyen from my place. And it's just about from my place to this end of the county, it's the same. So if you're coming from the west, if you're coming from the west side of Calgary, it's a lot of distance.
Yeah.
But if you're in that area somewhere, I don't think the distance is that big an issue. So, and I think Fildebrandt, like I said, he's pushing, and he wants us to come on side with him to maintain this. And like I said, Brooks and Newell don't have an issue with where they're going. And if we have, then we have to come up with some kind of a argument that's gonna,
Good argument,
yeah.
yeah.
So, do we have an issue with it? We're still one municipality inside it. But we still get one MLA. But I don't know. Somebody from Drum goes in as an MLA, somebody east of that,
So,
they're in the middle. I don't know.
so with you having this meeting, why is, that was my question when I'd seen it, Bassano, Rosemary, why is that jog out of there? Why would they not just go straight across and it's one complete? So what's the reason for,
That's part of Newell. That's part of the Newell
okay, so
municipality.
Newell, they want to keep Newell
That's-
together.
Newell is all together except a little piece down in the southwest corner.
Okay.
And they're gonna make application to get them
Yeah,
so that their whole county is represented in the,
In that
that's
one.
why it looks like a mushroom.
yeah, yeah,
Otherwise, they probably would have gone. But it's also, with that size, they're 16 or some percent over, but they're
exactly.
allowed 25% variance, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Any other comments?
Did you hear any comments from Drumheller? Nothing, they weren't even at the meeting?
No, they're from a different area right now.
Ben's talking a different
I'm
kind of
talking the
meeting.
Strathmore Brooks
Yeah.
MPC meeting is what we
Yeah.
were at.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a hue and cry from the Drumheller area. You might hear it from the Stettler municipality because they're split right in half, just
Yeah.
below Stettler. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they're gonna be making appeals up on that end to try
Yeah.
and do exactly the same thing that we did
Yeah.
last time. They're probably gonna, go back to that other one, Alan, the one you just showed up at Stettler. They're probably gonna
There,
appeal to
yeah.
come down in through that Coronation, Big Valley, Halkirk, in that area to pick up. Their municipality starts just south of Big Valley. So they'll probably apply to get that back in. So that'll change the numbers again and bring
Yeah.
us back more into the, so.
Yeah, if they cut that out, we'll be probably bang
Yeah.
on.
And I'm sure they were looking at that when they were putting some of this together. I'm just assuming that, but
So when you said you were sitting in the middle, you were talking about the Strathmore
Brooks.
Brooks area.
Yeah, if some-
But
that-
not when you
yeah,
look, that's why I was talking about when you take that whole map and we're going all the way up to Stettler.
Yeah.
That is a large territory. And
That's-
especially from here to Coronation, do you realize how many hours that
Step-
is to drive to
steps-
Coronation?
Stettler's 100 kilometers north of Drumheller.
Yeah,
And like I said, from my place going across country from Drumheller to Hannah, it's less.
Yeah.
So to Youngstown, it's probably 150K. So,
and
yeah.
Coronation is a couple of, 2.5 hours anyway. 3 hours up to Coronation. So that is a big territory for one
If you're,
MLA.
if you're coming from west of Calgary, it is.
Yeah, well, even Strathmore. We don't know.
I know, but Fildebrandt, all I'm talking about is what Fildebrandt's trying to
Fildebrandt,
put
yeah.
in place, and he
Yeah.
doesn't care. I'll guarantee you, he doesn't care what we look like when this is done, as long as it fits into his agenda to go
Yeah.
to the next step that he's looking for.
Yeah. And like I said, I wasn't thinking of Fildebrandt, I was thinking about who is going to be the person that looks after that big a territory. They can't do justice to it, it's too huge.
I guess when you look at the map too, it's not the biggest territory that
Oh,
they're proposing.
Not by a long shot.
Where's the biggest area?
North of Edmonton, they've got huge ones. They go
Well, yeah,
across the entire,
then you also don't
West
have the
Yellowhead is-
population either.
they still
Well, that's
gotta,
why they're big.
Yeah.
they still gotta get there, though. They still gotta get to those areas.
Yeah,
Peace.
That's huge.
the Peace would probably be the biggest one.
Fort McMurray with Buffalo. Fort McMurray, Lac La Biche.
Okay.
And the other big one is Tabor Vulcan. Look at the area
Yeah.
it pulls in there.
Yeah. But there's lots of,
Livingstone.
there's no population in a lot of that area.
Well, that's the
It's
same as
just
out east.
grassland.
It's the same as out east east of Hannah. There's not much population out there either. Very little out in some of those areas. You gotta remember, they are not gonna leave the ones that are there. They are eliminating 3 of them.
Yeah.
So if we don't like it, we have to come up with a better solution. And looking at the map, I couldn't figure out how to do it without affecting every other municipality around there, and then you're gonna start so, I don't know. To me, I'm personally, it's not an issue to me. It's gonna be an issue to Stettler, the ones that are split. They're gonna have some issues with it.
Yeah.
And that'll get changed there, but I think our objective is the same as last time, is to maintain our municipality
County.
in one,
Yeah,
whichever it is,
yeah.
that's what we say, and Newell is the same. They're
Here,
fine with it.
if you look at the map though, that boundary going south of Siksika, so we have Siksika and
Yeah,
Milo.
picked up a little bit on
We
that bottom
picked up
side.
some on that bottom side, right?
And they
Yeah,
may be
right in
doing,
there.
they may be doing the same thing down there, trying to move it back up to get their,
Yeah, because we're now, overlapping.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think you're right, they need 3 into urbans, and they've got to draw boundaries to make those so that the urbans get more votes. And so I don't think whatever we say is going to change what we
Well,
have.
what we need to do, because we're Fildebrand, like, I'm going to Fildebrandt's office on Thursday. He
Yeah.
invited- I think Glenn was going. I don't know who else all got the invite, but,
Yeah, I got an invite.
and he's gonna be pushing this to maintain Strathmore Brooks the way it is.
Yeah.
And he's gonna get pushback from Brooks and Newell. And is he gonna get pushback from us or not? That's what we need to decide, whether or not we're gonna,
I think the issue is, as a county, are we happy with, we're all in? As individual people in the province, are we happy we're losing seats? Those are the 2 issues. So if
exactly.
he's asking a county on a county perspective, what your personal views are and trying to mix it. So if you go to this meeting on Thursday at 9 o'clock, I believe it is, and you're going to speak, you have to remember, if you're speaking as a counselor, what we decide here is we think we want to be all in. That's the most important to us. And let the personal views, everybody else, you've been following the news, the personal views is not many people in rural Alberta like
No.
what they've done. But for us, we're still whole and we got 1 representative.
Well, and saying that, Glenn, though, it's not just about us being all in one spot. It's representation. We have to think bigger than just, oh, well, we're all together and they haven't broke up Wheatland County. What about our voting public? Like,
Well, I think that's their argument. The city voting, or the city ridings are much bigger and they don't have it as much voting power as rural, right?
Well, I
The
looked at.
proportion is
Yeah.
different.
I looked at the statistics, and they're, even with them adding, you know, a lot of what they're doing is they're just playing with figures. They're not that far out of what they want, but they want 3 more ridings that is urban, and that's the way they're doing it. And they're manipulating the figures to
Yeah,
make it
well, I
look
look at
good.
the cities
But
here,
it's not that much
65,000.
difference than from before.
92,000. They're big, so if there's, do we want a resolution, a county position on electoral boundaries?
Because looking at this, when you go through what Fildebrand's presenting, it's basically status quo.
Stays protecting the
that's-
turf.
And we know that's not going to happen, so do we go with what he wants to do, or are we as a municipalities satisfied with where we sit as a municipality? The other arguments, like Glenn said, is the representation side of the government, which is, and they're going to make a change come hell or high water, so.
Do we want to have a public position of Wheatland County, or just call it discussion information? Okay, well, I'll be looking for a motion, yeah. Brenda?
I kind of like the AAMDNC's thoughts on and I actually, it's the AAMDNC's position that the current electoral, our boundaries are at their maximum size, and expanding the boundaries of Alberta's largest electoral constituencies will only exacerbate the existing challenges facing those constituents and their elected representatives. And then he goes down to talk about more money. And I kind of think that is that to me is the same position, I guess. And that would, I like that position. I don't know why, but it's for the overall, regardless of what's happening here, it's for the entire province, right? So that's what I like their position, I guess. That's what my thoughts are.
Could we, through the chair, could we put a motion on the floor then that Wheatland County, and I agree with where you're coming from with their document, that Wheatland County supports.
You have to talk louder, Margaret. I just heard Margaret.
It's just, I haven't got it yet. I'm just wondering if what we're looking for is a motion that says the Wheatland County is in supports the AAMDNC position.
Yeah.
But whether or not that's, our biggest concern is that we maintain our unity as one municipality in whatever division or just electoral boundary, that we retain our full status in there and not be split. I don't know how you word that, but.
I think if we do that, we should make sure that we put both in, because without one, the other one isn't a lot of value to you, in my opinion. It's not about what we want, it's about what we should be doing that's right for our ratepayers and how it's going to affect the bigger picture. So I would say we need to put both of our, like,
That's what I was saying, but how do you word it?
yeah.
Consideration of geographic. Like how they worded that.
So I'll put a motion on the floor then that Wheatland County supports the AMDNC position, but we also would like to maintain Wheatland County under one MLA. And if that's the way it splits, it's not a big issue with how they split it, but that we do agree with where the AMDNC is coming from.
We want to ensure a boundary.
Right.
Under one electoral division.
Okay, how about the motion that we support AMDC's position? However, Wheatland County's priority concern is that we stay as one county and wherever we are. Right, that's pretty clear. Don?
If you got an MLA who tends to be influenced by urban ideas, which Hildebrand, I think, is, Arno was really great. He covered the whole area, didn't matter where. And I think that's the biggest thing. You don't want an MLA that's going to be influenced by big urbans such as Calgary, whatever, tend to their way of thinking. I think we need somebody who's going to cover the whole district, and to my way of thinking, that's what Arno did.
Hildebrand, one question, why he isn't out here that much?
Yeah. Is it clear to everyone? You got it, Margaret? Okay. Is there any more discussion? Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Carried. New business request for decision sponsorship, Alberta Care Spring Seminar. Is that what we did for the one that time it was in Brooks, Ben? Yeah? Or Drumheller, sorry.
Similar.
Similar? Yeah, I thought so. Alice?
Yeah, I said I would make that motion last time, and Alan brought it forward, so we'll follow the recommended action that council approve a platinum level sponsorship for the Care Spring 2018 seminar to be held in Brooks, February 28th to March 2nd, at the amount of $5,000 to be funded from the donations to organizations account.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Request for decisions, pumps, motors, and electrics course.
I'll move the recommended action that we approve one county utility operator to attend a pump, motors, and electric course in Edmonton for an overnight, June 20th and 21st.
Okay, any questions?
2 overnights, sorry.
2 overnights? Yeah. All in favor? Carried. Request for decision, event, 15 minutes of fame. No. You don't have to read it all. Okay. Any questions? I guess in doing that, anybody wants to know the agendas are public too, so they could be following right along. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Request for decision, Fire Services Master Agreement.
I'll put the recommendation on the table that council approve the, in principle, the draft for the Fire Services Master Agreement.
Okay, any questions? Alice?
To the CAO, all of the changes that came back, have they been agreed upon by the fire service, like Rockyford Standard, all the 9 fire
I
departments?
wouldn't say that all been agreed on, but there's been a compromise made on most of those that they're accepting it at this point.
Yeah,
So the next step is direction to send it to legal. Legal will review it, provide their comments, hopefully not too many comments that need to be changed.
yeah.
Then it'll come back to you guys for final approval and go back to the associations and the villages.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of complaint per se, but I think the big thing, it was a fairly onerous job for some of the fire departments to go over the agreement, and they had to do it 2 or 3 times, and I think there was a little bit of frustration. The last corrections, I know I was at the meeting, and I said I would look at it, and it was mainly just little words or, you know, deleting some legal entities that didn't need to be there, so I didn't see that that was so onerous. But anyway, that was kind of the comment I got, but good if that's been done. Perfect, thanks.
Yeah, it was a huge undertaking for the whole group, but I
Yeah.
think it's important to get it under one agreement rather than having a number of different agreements, some of them somewhat contradictory. So
Yeah, I read it and I found it, I thought it was quite good. Yeah.
Any other questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, appointments, not 9:30 yet, 9:45, I guess, first one. Reports, Reeves report, 3.1. Report there from FCSS. Minutes. And our financial statements. What's the word? They're not audited statements, they are the step down. Something like that, yeah. That's what they are. For half the price. Absolutely no issues. Go ahead.
There was an article in the paper, and there was a number of organizations that received some funding. So my question, I had asked by a ratepayer, has the WFCSS changed their mandate? They didn't know that money was being, you know, given to different organizations. They didn't think that was right. I had to say I was ignorant of it because I had not sat on that board.
I think ever since I've been on FCSS, we've always had what we call indirect programs, even when we were at Strathmore. And a lot of the same outfits are still got the same amount of funding, or getting funding, not the same amount. I don't know if there's a list in this audited statement. There should be. But no, we haven't changed our mandate. That's part of the FCSS function.
Okay.
To most of these funds, 80% are Government of Alberta funds, and there are strict guidelines on what you can fund and not fund.
Okay.
And yeah, we put it out. I can't see a listing.
I think the difference maybe is we hadn't had that type of report out in the public before, so it came into the paper and then it became, you
Yeah,
know.
we're trying very hard to get information out to the
Yeah,
public.
and I think then information came out and then they say, oh, well, did you do this? And I couldn't answer them, so, yeah, thanks for that.
Okay. Any other questions? It's indirect programs. Yeah. Program expenses. So FCSS, we have indirect programs, what I call indirect, and that's where we give the funding to a school aid liaison or whatever the outfit is, libraries, clubs, or, and then we have the other thing that's there is home support, and it's highly subsidized. Okay, and that's a direct. So that's highly subsidized for our seniors. They take some sort of a little means test, and we have categories where they fit under. And we go out and we help them do snow shoveling or house cleaning or buy groceries, whatever, however we can help out, okay? And I believe 30-some clients in the county, yeah. Plus, Lynn, monthly, she goes to the interagency and has lunch and learns. And people get out and mingle and socialize and stuff, yeah. That's part of, yeah. Yeah, no, matter of fact, Lynn has been asked to go up to the province and to speak on some of the programming we do here. We're recognized in the province for what she's accomplishing. Okay. Any other questions on FCSS? One other note, our financial statements, it has to go up to the province to be accepted before we get funding for the next year. Then we have a request here from the AMDNC on proposed growth management boards. Oh, okay. I'll make a motion we accept the FCSS presentation. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. And then AMDNC Growth Management Board meeting last week. They were thinking they want to have a meeting, and I think 9:30 in Edmonton on July 19th is when the meeting is going to take place. Between two proposed growth management area and the existing growth management area, rural members. They would like 2 members, 1 elected, 1 staff. Council's wishes. Any questions?
So they're, through the chair, they're looking for a nomination to sit on that growth
No,
management
I think it's
board?
just a meeting. Just a meeting.
Just to go to the.
Oh, just
I
to
think
go
the
to-
people, the counties down here wanted to meet, we wanted to meet with the north ones, just to get an idea how things are working and what to watch out for and whatnot.
I'll move that the Reeve and the CAO attend. You're the ones that have been going to these meetings anyways, so.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Ben? And Wademza, financial statements for Wademza. We're very happy at Wademza. We got our statements done. No issues there either. We're doing very well. But we're just into the start of the contract. At the end of the contract, we'll be dipping into, it's a balancing act of what we think, so. Any questions? We have 6 ambulances for your information. 3 in the hall, on all the time. We have 3 standbys, so for repairs or rodeos and stuff. Or if we need to call out more ambulances, we have the capability. Alice?
When I was in the Foothills Hospital, and I had to be taken by an ambulance, and it was the crew from Strathmore, and they were absolutely excellent. It was a training session, so I became a Gaelic pig. I'm not so sure I like that, but anyway, it happens. And there was a comment made and I was quite proud of it, was how the rural ambulances get their patients in and into the emergency, and how quickly they get back out on the road to look after other patients. And it was a comment that I overheard, and I thought, well, that made me proud to hear that the group was really dedicated, and it was not about them and how they're feeling, it's about what they're doing on the job and about the patient. And I had excellent, I was looked after like really, really quickly and efficiently. So I was impressed, so.
Did you pass that on to the ambulance services?
Oh,
Do they know?
absolutely,
Thanks.
Bernice. Yeah,
Yeah,
because.
they deserve it. They're really efficient.
Yeah.
Good.
Alberta Health Services, a month or two ago, took over all dispatching, took it away from City of Calgary where we were having it done. And now AHS is doing it, and more growing pains. So if you hear of anything, let me know one. But I probably already heard them from the other end. But just so you're aware. Any questions? I guess I'll move no, I'll let Bernice move the ambulance one if she wants. Okay, move the, okay. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. And we'll move on, Deputy Reeves' report.
It's in your package. The first one is Drumheller District Solid Waste, and it's just business as usual. A couple of things that came out of our last meeting. The Calgary Regional Waste Recycle Group is approached through a motion of province because Calgary's raising an issue that they're losing volume in waste and recycle. They've raised all their rates, and now they're upset because people are going other places, and they're trying to put pressure on the province to put limits on how far you can haul your waste so that it can try and control it. So we'll see where that goes. The other interesting one was Foothills Waste have created a salvage center, and they're employing 9 full-time employees. They've sold over $750,000 worth of product in 1 year. They put a value on it, and they're actually, these people go out and they pull stuff out of bins, recycles and reusable stuff out of the bins. I can't remember the community group that handles it, and they sell it. They paid for their program in 6 months. They diverted 300 tons of waste out of the transfer sites, out of the bins. It was interesting. Tammy, we asked Tammy to look into the program and report back to the board in August. So just, it was quite interesting. SEWA, the big thing with SEWA is that the province, not the province, we're still trying to get the province on side to come up with some funding, big funding. FCM has come on board again for the second time with $173,000 as their part of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities and their Green Municipal Fund. There was 72 million or something that they put out through to bunch. And that is supporting, we signed contracts with Pembina to do a third-party review of our gases coming out of waste through the landfills and energy plants, and the other contract was with the University of Alberta to do their haul transportation study. So we were really pleased to see that come through. We've been after that for a while, and it finally came through. So the other on there is just what Ottawa, and the only comment I got about that was Brenda reported on most of that, was the one motion resolution for the province to do a more in-depth study, or the Canadian government, FCM, to do a more in-depth study when they were looking at pulling some of these government facilities out of these smaller rural communities. And they had somebody stand up and amend it, and the amendment was that they do it for all, not just small rural communities, but for all of them. So to me, that took away the whole intent of the resolution, because if they did that, if they'd have been doing that, a lot of those government facilities would have never been in a rural position, because they were done strictly for political reasons. So I thought, well, they washed it down and it went through, so they'll just keep doing what they're doing. But, and the Sabre report is following. I sent that out to everybody, and the announcement from the Government of Canada for the 72 million. And other than that, it's just if there's any questions.
Any questions? In your report, Ben?
I'll move my report.
No questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, we have a 9:45 appointment. And we'll sneak you in early since you're here, okay? Yeah, so if you could come up to the podium, turn the mic on, or Ellen will help you. Do you need the computer at all, or?
No, I didn't do anything real fancy.
Okay, so just state your name for the record.
Okay, Catherine Brown. So
Okay.
I'm the chair of the Friends of East Wheatland group. As you know, we've been in here before, so you kind of know the background. It's all laid out, and everybody got an attachment email with all that stuff in it. So not sure if you've been that way or anything, but everything's done. The playground's been completed. We did that over a week, the beginning of May, and we've been in the school now since the 15th. So the playground did come in a slightly over what we initially aimed for, but it is well worth it. It's a really great set of equipment. So we made it to, I believe, just over 73,000. So we paid for our deposit, and we had, again, the breakdown you all have. And NIB Development actually had to do a bit of work last minute in the back at Barry and Culvert, and he actually donated that, which was the amount of $15,873. So that was very much appreciated. So we're still looking at a remaining balance of $139,534.35. We have submitted our application for the community facility enhancement grant through the government. That we should hear back in July, I believe. And then funds are dispersed, I believe, late September, early October. Unfortunately, I don't want to put all our eggs in that basket. It is a huge fund, and it is used by a lot of people for a lot of projects. So we were hoping that the county would be supportive of the Parks and Rec Fund, perhaps being able to set aside some of that for this project. We will continue to raise money for the remaining regardless. And the school board has agreed that that money we paid, the balance, came out of what we had put aside for the whole project. So it's kind of loaner money we took from this to pay for that. And that's about where we stand right now, so.
Okay.
Questions?
Thinking it was donated labor that put this together, do you?
Yes, we had over 1,000 hours of
Okay.
manpower, and then I believe it was 63 hours of like skid steer work. It was all put together.
Okay. So that's always nice to know how much donated
Oh,
labor
yeah,
there
it
is,
was,
for
because
sure.
it was a 5-day project, yeah, and we had, it was 1,006 hours, and then the additional for the skilled labor. Actually, that
Okay.
doesn't even include Jason's, Nib's
Okay,
time, so.
okay.
Glenn, I'm just here for moral support. Sorry. gotta hit it again?
Yeah. Turn it red.
There we go. Red light's on. Like I said, Glenn, I'm just here for moral support, more or less, but throughout the whole playground procedure, I have been involved in this, as everybody knows, from day one, and that was probably the first time I saw all 4 communities come together, you know, and actually not just 4 communities, because we had people from Rosebud, Clooney, you know what I mean? It was a county of Wheatland group of people that put in those 1,000 hours and strive toward one goal. And the coolest part for most of us was the day after we were done, a bunch of us went out to the school and hit there at recess time and watched the kids and realized that the 1,000 hours was well worth it. So it worked really well. So, but if you guys have any questions for me, I'd.
Yeah. I know very well when it was seating time when you got it.
It was
Yeah.
really poor. That was the only date, literally the only date in a year that they had available
If
for
we
an
didn't
install.
do it
so-
then,
Yeah.
it ended up being a year later that we would
Yeah.
have got the playground roughly, and.
No, we all made allowances.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was-
done.
exactly. All the farming families did, because I know we got a lot of people for half a day here and a half a day there, and yeah, it was really
I'm
good.
glad it worked out.
It worked out.
Ellis, I think I seen your hand up.
I have some information that might help to get another grant that just
Okay.
came in. I passed it through to Alan just the other
Okay.
day. And it's to do with the changes stem from the comprehensive review from the program by Alberta Culture and Tourism, launched in 2015. So you can get the community enhancement grant, but this was going to be, it says Enhanced Capacity Advancement Program. So it's a ECAP.
Okay.
If you give me your email.
Yes, if you could forward it,
Then I'll
that would be
just
great.
forward this to you, and it just may help you, because some of it is talking about giving you grant money year after year.
Okay.
And that hasn't been possible under the CIP. So this is an enhancement program. So
Okay.
it might work for that. Each year you can get so much.
Yeah, if it qualifies for sure.
Yeah, if you qualify in. So I'll forward it to
Okay,
you if you
sounds
give me
good.
your email.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll leave it with Alan here when we're done.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ben?
This question to Alan, if we were to move forward with the request, is there funding in the Parks and Recreation for that?
There is funding in the Parks and Recreation, but I guess I would ask that council just give direction for us to bring back a request for decision to the next meeting or a subsequent meeting, so that we can get you all the numbers and where it's at, so you can make an informed decision on
Right.
that, so.
Well, I'll make that request that the administration bring back RFP to council showing where that funding would come from and how it would work, however you want to make that.
Any questions on Ben's motion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, any other questions for Catherine? Got a peanut in my throat.
I have a question
Sure.
for, I can't remember if this was last year or the year before, but your potential fundraising items for Wheatland East, I kept a copy of that. And you had on there the gymnasium, the bleachers, the scoreboard, volleyball, floor covering, basketball, commercial, kitchen, performance box seating, new media, light, sound, drama, fitness room, multi, and then the field was a question mark. You had dollar amounts for that. How much of that have, other than the playground?
The school itself, out of their budget for the construction, they set aside money for, like, the scoreboard's done. The floor, I believe the floor coverings, all that
the
stuff for
gym
the
is done.
sports. They made room in the budget, the money that they got from the government, I believe, to do that.
Which one?
The whole amount they got, they used little bits to pay for those small projects.
Did you say the media room, the news media room?
No,
was-
look, the structure's there, but whatever they put in it,
Oh, okay.
as far as non, the stuff the government, we get our new computers and all that, but extra stuff, like I think they had a 3D printer or
Yeah.
that kind of stuff has not been purchased.
But they have the room there for it.
Yes, we do. The field is being done over the summer. Thinking that just came out of exactly the amount that the government gave us.
Okay.
The commercial kitchen was done as well out of that. They had to have that done blueprint that time when they were doing blueprints, so it wasn't a decision that they could wait for us to come up with the money, so it came out of what the government set aside.
Your gymnasium's done too.
It is done. It's a fantastic gymnasium.
And the
The floors
bleachers,
are finished.
the bleachers are part of that?
The bleachers are in.
Bleachers are in.
They were assembled the first week the kids were in.
Okay.
The theater bleachers are not in. That is something, I believe, I'm not quite sure on that, if that's coming out of ours.
The theater bleachers are still up in the air. It's a matter of how much money Golden Hills has left from, I'm going to say robbing Peter to pay Paul, so to speak. That if we have enough money there, then that money will go toward the theater bleaching. But other than that, Friends of East Sweetland has decided
Yeah.
that we are going to make it happen.
The rest as well, the small stuff that isn't in, be it sports equipment or extras like that, we do have casino money, and our goal was to try and not use that to finish playing for the playground, simply because that amount of money has to last us 3 years in a school that's now 4 times what we had before. So we're downsized that way. That money is meant for the students and for programming within the school to better that. So we had hoped not to
So
have to use that.
From the list that you had given us before, then you're well over halfway there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, as a whole, yeah.
Your total was 2.3 million, and from what you're saying now, you're well over half.
Oh, easily.
Over-
Yeah.
You're close to
Easily.
yeah, good for you guys.
Hopefully, yeah. It's a lot of fundraising.
We're hoping, I love the people on Friends of East Sweetland dearly, but I hope not to meet with them monthly anymore.
I know, I'm still trying to not be chair anymore, but it just seems to roll into the next year, but.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Ellis?
and just a comment, trying to raise funds, it's a lot of work.
For us, it actually, I mean, going into it, we were asked, do you guys want to form this group and start this endeavor? And we're, sure. And then we realized very quickly that our ability to fundraise through any form of lotteries or anything having to do with the EGLC, we were not allowed to fundraise for a building that didn't exist. And as you all know, our building didn't exist
Yeah.
until this past spring.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm hoping that other funding might be able to help you, but I believe it is the matching grant.
it is matching as well, yeah.
So you need the first seed money before you can get it matched.
Are you allowed to use the same amount? I'm sure you are. Like, if you're applying for 2 grants, your matching money that you have can be used to apply for both.
Well, I think you have to go back and make sure, if you get money from a federal organization, I'm not so sure you can use it twice.
Right.
I think you can use it once.
Yeah. So we have to see.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It's a waiting game to see when they
Yeah.
let us know. I mean, they have been in contact with us and asked for additional information, and we've given them that. So, they're in the process of making their decision. It's just they're not real.
Apply for 2 grants and you use the same seed money and you get the 2 grants. Then what do you do?
Yeah.
Actually, you can if it's provincial and federal. You can
Oh,
use
you
the
can
same
do
seed
that.
money,
Okay.
yes. But not within
Not-
the province. You can't use
Right.
it on the grants
Yeah.
from. And I did mine, Alan and I worked that out, and we were able to do that. And so it's no issue because your accounting is the same. Your money is going for that.
Right,
So
right.
it's not an issue, but hopefully this will help you.
Yes. I'll
Thank you.
definitely look into it.
Okay. Any other questions? I don't know. You're aware, Catherine, that we have a grant writer in the county here, and if you ever
You
need
do
any help.
now have somebody on staff?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And yes, just get a hold of Ellen and we'll do whatever we can to make sure all the i's and t's are done up there pretty. Okay, no other questions? Have a motion to accept her report, please. Alice? All in favor? Carried. Thanks for coming
right,
in.
thank you very
Thanks for the
much.
good work. Thanks, Ellen. Yeah. Yeah, I don't, 10 o'clock ain't here, so we'll do Division 1 Councillor report.
Okay, in front of you, you have some motion or minutes and that from the Gleason and District Community Association. And with our mandate is that we turn our minutes and everything over to the county so that it's a record here at the county of what the Community Association does. So I'll bring up a few things that we are working on at the community hall. We have a young girl, Eliza Anderson, who's come on board. We've got a couple of 3 new board members. And she's doing a drop-in at the hall every week. And it's really taken off quite well, surprising everybody of how many people show up. And they're doing jam sessions and they're having pottery lessons, education, just card games, pool, you know. So it's not called a seniors drop-in, it's called a community drop-in center. So it doesn't matter what age you are. The only requirement is if you're sending your kids, they have to be accompanied with an adult. So that is turning out quite well. We did raise $122,669,000 on the community enhancement grant. That's through the provincial government. And we had raised around $140,000. So we did a matching grant. We got the $122,600 and the community hall matched the rest to bring it up to $250,000. That program or project will be getting underway this month, which is to replace the roof and do a whole new facade on the outside of the community hall. So that will be going forward. And I think that's pretty well all, you know, the big ticket items we're doing for this year.
Thanks, Alice.
So I move my report. I didn't go to the handy bus meeting this month because I was sick with bronchitis, so I have nothing to report to you on that. Thank
Any
you.
questions for Alice's report? All in favor? Carried. And we'll go back up to our 10 a.m. appointment. Kim, whenever you're ready.
Good morning, thank you. I hope it's 10 a.m. So we have
sorry.
development, that's okay. It's been a long weekend. I have development permit application DP 2017-79. The recommendation is that council approve option 1, approval of development permit 2017-79 with the following conditions. This development permit is issued for a new residence defined as a dwelling single detached. No variants have been granted. Development shall proceed according to the DC7 district and must conform to the land use bylaw. No development shall occur on or over any utility right-of-way or easement. And then we have our 3 standard notes for the Lakes of Muirfield. The applicant is proposing to build a single-family dwelling in the hamlet of Lyelta within the Lakes of Muirfield. The 2-story dwelling is 2,614 square feet and approximately 30 feet in height. We have section 9.26 of the land use bylaw and policy 6.01 of the strategic relevance. I'm going to pop down to my development permit report. I don't have control over that, so that's going to be Alan, there? Okay, thank you. So it is in Division 5, proposal for a single detached dwelling. It is condominium plan 0710284, unit 163, and that's 584 Muirfield Crescent in the hamlet of Lyelta. The owner is 1555905 Alberta Limited, and the applicant is Vanity Homes. The parcel size is 6,921 square feet, and it is in DC 7. The applicant is proposing to build a single-family dwelling that's going to be 2,614 square feet, 30 feet in height. The property is located in Cell 2 Residential Type 2 of the DC District. It meets all provisions of the land use bylaw, and it is deemed discretionary use in Cell 2 within the DC 7 district. Agency circulation was not performed. Internal circulation at the file review meeting, Judy Unsworth, our Fire and Emergency Management Coordinator, had no comments other than to ensure it would be sprinkled, and this will be done through the building permit application. So as previously mentioned, it is the recommendation to approve with option 1. I do have a location plan. Ellen, would you mind scrolling down for me to Appendix A right here, just a little further. There we go. So it is on the same street as the clubhouse. And then Appendix B is the site plan. And then I did go out, do an inspection, and it's nice and green and wet out there. So no construction has started, and that's everything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Council's wish it, but Rex?
So
Did Rex? No? Okay, Brenda?
that council approve option number 1 with the development permit application 2017-79 with following conditions, which are there 4 are listed, and the 3 notes.
Okay, any questions? Rex?
I don't have any. I think the discussion will happen later. I see that Jimmy Suze is coming in at 11 to present a report on their wastewater solution. So with that, we'll move forward, hopefully. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Don?
Not in relation to this, just, is there any way that some of the debt can be retired that was owing to the Huntleys and whatnot? Not just, is there any way possible in Muirfield? You know, not a thing?
It's not our thing. We,
No, it's just a,
yeah. I'm not aware of any way, that's for sure. Any other questions? Brenda's moved. All in favor? Carried. Thanks for coming in. Okay, Division 2 Councilor report.
So the package is in your report on top of what may not be in there. So far, the reservoir is getting filled and there's no leaks that we know of yet. The raw water pump house is almost completed. They will commission it at the end of the month. Same for the Gleason pumps and standard. The Gleason upgrade is still going on. It should be finished by the end of August and commissioned in September. Pipeline construction should be done at the end of this month. Commissioned in August. There's one item that I'm going to leave out here. Baja's coming in tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I believe, And so he'll be able to answer some of those questions as well, but there'll be more details following tomorrow in the Committee of the Whole. All contracts for Phase 2 are awarded, including the upgrade of the plant, pipeline to Rockyford. So I don't know if you have any questions, but like I said, Baja will be in tomorrow, and hopefully we can give you a full scope and full details on everything that's going on. But you can see in the picture there the different cells where we're at. Are there any questions?
Moving to report, Rex.
Also move.
Okay, any questions? All in favor? Carried, thank you. And Division 4 Counselor report.
Okay, you can see the minutes are on the server. But what not on there is the SWAT team wants to have more public to come to the meetings, like the parents and even some kids, to hear about what we're doing and what we're about. And that comes mainly because of the increase in deaths of overdose for children and teens. Like in Vancouver now, there's 4 per day that are passing away from fentanyl overdose. So they really want to get it more out there rather than just the committee sitting there. They want public to come. So that's going to be on the billboards. The signs may continue throughout the summer. I'm not sure what's going to happen there because the signboards are again up for sale. This is the second time within the year they're going up for sale. So I'm not sure what they're going to be doing about that. And that's about it. You can read it online about the minutes, and we're going to do like Alice said, we're going to keep putting them on the board.
Okay, thanks. Move your report.
And I'll move my report for the SWAT.
Okay, is there any questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Staff report, CAO's officers report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My report's there. I don't have anything to add this month to that report.
Alice?
I see there's some, through the chair to the CAO, some work being done on the new school in Strathmore. So I know we talked a little bit about that the last meeting, that they missed our openings to use our equipment. So what has become of all the discussion on that, or have you had one, Alan?
Yeah, so they missed our window of opportunity for our crews to get out there because our crews are on our road construction projects. So on June 22nd, I met with the town and the school division, and we're talking on another site potentially in that area to build a ball field.
Okay.
Potentially it could be in Hillview as well, but that's town-owned land. It's not private development. So we're just discussing that at this point. It's an option, and once that gets firmed up, I'll bring that information back for council's consideration. So,
Yeah, because I think we've made headway of working as good partners with the town. And I was hoping there was not going to be any, big issue over not hitting that deadline. We are a little more conscious of where our crews have to be. We have a schedule and we have to meet that. And not everybody understands that.
yeah.
And so I was hoping you were able to talk to them and there would be no, hard feelings over it.
There's been no concern from my counterparts with administration at the town.
Yeah.
We're still working through that. One of the options that we put out there was we would go in and do the work in the fall, if fall
Yeah.
permits, or next spring. They would like to get these ball fields operational next year, so ideally we'd like to do it in the fall, kind of after our crews kind of get shut down on their
Yep.
projects. So we'll see how it goes as far as the weather goes, but that's where we're at right now. So.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Alan.
Any other questions? Ben's moved the report. No questions? All in favor? Carried. Yeah, we're running on time today. Thanks for coming in. Okay, we got corporate and financial services report.
Good afternoon, council, or good morning, council.
Good morning.
My report is on page 154 of your agenda. Just some items I'd like to note is that June 30th was the last day prior to penalties to collect tax payments for the county. We received quite a few payments that led to increased foot traffic in the building. That foot traffic is expected to decrease this week. We received about $3.8 million in grants from the government this past week. Those are deposited into our accounts. And with the increased cash flow, we have put out a request for all the interest rates from all the financial institutions. So we have just invested our share of what we can, given our cash flow needs at this point.
Al? No?
I have nothing else to add of my report.
Okay.
Oh, yes. So some good news at this point. We have not received any assessment appeals besides the linear ones I had mentioned in assessment from the prior months. That's not saying there isn't any. There could be some in the mail. If they're post-dated June 30th or before, then it's a valid complaint. Regardless if it's a valid complaint or not, we still need to accept the appeal. So we haven't heard anything from any ratepayers at this point for the 2017 assessment.
Any questions, Alice?
I have a couple. One, our Alberta government was talking of doing assessments within our Wheatland County, all counties actually. So is that anything changed yet, or if it is, do you know when it's going to happen?
Yes, through the chair. So Alan and I went to a MGA update in Olds on May 30th. May 30th and 31st in Olds. And there they kind of alluded to a bit of the changes. So the timelines, they haven't really firmed up the timelines, but they talk about taking over some designated industrial properties. So kind of a couple pieces we're waiting for is when exactly they are going to take it over. They had mentioned a few times that they're going to take it over they were going to release some guidelines in June, which didn't happen. And now they've kind of pushed it to the end of July. So we're kind of still waiting for the province to kind of give us a better indication. They've mentioned a couple different dates,
Right.
19, 20, and 21. Until we receive further guidance from them, we can't really comment.
Yeah, so you can bring that back when that happens.
Yes,
The other
So
thing,
just
there
a
was
further
an
note on
audit
that,
being.
if I
Oh,
could.
go ahead.
Just a further note on that, we still don't know what properties will be under that.
No, no.
There may be a very limited amount of properties, like there may only be one or two outside of oil wells and that are currently linear or non-res rates. So it doesn't affect all properties. It's a very, very limited scope. And I think, what did they say, 60 in the province, was it?
Yeah.
Sorry, Brian.
My apologies. It's about 60 properties, and they need to let us know which ones are designated in this category.
I'm sorry. Until that happens, and you have no idea until they finally put the package together and
That's
where.
correct.
But yeah, it would be nice to know because that could affect our tax end quite drastically.
Yes,
So-
and we'll bring
and-
that back when
Yeah.
we know more.
And the other question is, you were doing an audit on the payroll. Where is that setting? Is that when is it going to be presented to, so we know how things are going on that?
Yes, so they provided me some results, and then I had asked just to see some backup documentation on 4 specific employees in specific periods. So it's very close. They mentioned they will be able to get it to completed in July.
Yes, to the chair. The new tax program, I got a lot of phone calls on it. Can you explain to me a little bit clear, like I've told them what it is the provincial has said you have to do it this way, that's why there's so much more paperwork? Is that correct, or?
So previously in our legacy system, what we had provided to any ratepayer is a summary sheet with all of their roles and assessments on one combined notice. So say one person with 50 roles would receive one a page document with maybe 4 or 5 pages with a summary of all their roles. So this was one very unique feature that our legacy program had, and maybe 2 or 3 other municipal districts in all of Alberta have. So when we kind of did our research, we asked other MDs around, like Rocky View, Clearwater, Pinoka, a lot of the other MDs. So what they were doing was they were sending out one notice per role. So unfortunately, one, I guess, maybe minor drawback of the new system is that we had to send out one assessment notice per role. So it did lead to a little bit of an increased amount of paper that was provided to ratepayers. But I think that we're falling back into the normal of what other MDs provide to their ratepayers. It was a change for sure.
Okay, but one of my ratepayers said that they had to do it quarterly now, report quarterly, their taxes? It was broken down. Is that?
So an option that I believe on each notice was that the payment amount for the tip payment, that's just an option, and under no circumstances is that mandatory.
Oh.
There's no quarterly reporting at all
Okay,
or anything to do like that.
because they had quite a wad of paper. I was,
You mean a report on each quarter,
Oh,
quarterly report?
okay, like a,
Quarter of land.
yeah,
no, quarter report, because they had to actually put the money for each quarter.
That's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
okay. Yeah, and another option that was communicated in there as well is that they could provide us a check, they could call in for the summary. What we did this past year was we provided a summary statement for anyone in excess of 15 roles. So anyone with a large amount of property in the county, we provided them with a summary to make it easier for the client. So we had some people call in that had 13 roles that didn't get one, but we were more than willing to provide a summary of that. So next year, lesson learned, we're going to send one out for, I believe we're still working on the number, so maybe in excess of 5, just to make it a lot easier for the ratepayer.
Any other questions? Alice?
So we have some people that hadn't paid their tax last year, and we work with them to get them to go on the program we have. So did you find that successful and that more people are looking at going on that program so they can pay it monthly instead of one lump sum?
As for the enrollment in the TIP program, I'm not quite positive what the increase has been in that. I can definitely provide council information on that in my next monthly report.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know, because I do know we have been working for with some of the ratepayers that need assistance like that. Get them on that program. I really like it, and I know I've had different ones tell me they liked it too. So, yeah, it's a good program.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions? When you're looking at your roles, when people pay by the internet, and you have 15 properties, and they had 15 different, it would be nice if you could include in there, if you're paying by internet, just have one customer number or whatever. So the summary, otherwise they're making 15 different new accounts and stuff, yeah. Would be kind of nice if you could just pay the one account and, okay.
Okay.
Anything else? Motion for Brian's report. Don, all in favor? Carried. And thank you and congratulations. I believe we passed the 1-year anniversary here last week or so.
Yes, just did, so it's
Yeah.
good.
Thanks for all your
All right.
work.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, council.
Okay, so we have request for decision, corporate and financial services report. That's this one we did. Yeah. Yeah. Transportation infrastructure services. Whenever you're ready, Mike. I was just going by A. There was no one under A, you see, and then I see an extra line under this one, so we're not consistent here. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Council. How's everyone going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So everyone's got a copy of the report in front of them, if you have any questions on it. A couple items of note. We are in the middle of our calcium, second round of calcium dust control right now, so a fairly good turnout for the second run here, definitely more than we had in the first run. So that is going to be continuing on for the next couple weeks here, getting the calcium installed. And then we'll have the oil, which is actually the deadline's coming up on the 7th here, so that's Friday would be the deadline for getting the oil in. So if anyone's asking you, just inform them that'll be the one and only time we install the oil this year. So we closed the tender, another item of note there, we closed the tender on Thursday on Thursday for the sidewalks. We're doing some sidewalk replacement in Gleason and in Carsland this year. We came in under budget, so it'll be Mudrack Consulting that performs that work for us this year. They've done work for us in the past. They're good, reputable companies, so no concerns there. Had a meeting with Emard Construction last week. They're the contractor that received the tender for Township 240, Range Road 201. So Range Road 201 is still on hold right now. We haven't got environment approval on that, or DUC's approval on doing that wetland there. So it was a deletable in the contract, and we're just holding off. I think we're on 8 months now with that one, waiting for a response from that. So it may not happen this year, but we've left in the contract just in case we can either finish at the end of this year or bring back the contractor next year is a possibility as well. So things we're looking at. But yeah, they're actually on site today starting stripping. So they'll be going. They have a completion date of under a month for finishing that. So they've got a really aggressive timeline. So they'll be going 7 days a week there, 12-hour days kind of thing. So full bore. Another exciting thing, we took possession of the Rosebud Grader Shop last week. So we signed off on it and are moving in as we speak now. So hopefully in the next couple weeks we'll be running some graders out of there. So that'd be nice to see. And those are the highlights. If anyone had any questions on the report.
Any questions?
Just
Ben?
couple question and comment. When are they mobilizing to Duck Lake for the paving?
For the paving, I believe it was in the early part of July here.
That's what I thought too,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen anything. That's why I was wondering if you had a date when they were,
I don't have a construction schedule from them
but
yet.
they were
or-
supposed to be there in July.
Yeah, no,
At least the middle of July.
middle of July is what I'm,
Okay.
I'm meeting with AMEC tomorrow, so I can confirm some dates on that.
Just, if you do, just send me an email.
Sure.
When they're coming. I'm getting a lot of questions now when they're hoping to get it in and done before they start getting in on the crops and having to, trying to find other ways to get around it for their crops. So I've been telling them sometime in July, but I don't have a date for it.
Yeah, no, once I get a contract, I can forward it to the council.
Okay. The other question is, Tammy, I was talking to Tammy, and I know you've been talking to her over our solid waste.
Yes.
Is there a date where you can sit down with Tammy and I and go over that whole program, that process, and have you got any free dates in the next week or 2
Yeah,
weeks?
yeah, for sure we can sit down. I talked to her through the chair. We just discussed the process going forward here and just to clarify the accounting side of things with Drumheller Solid Waste. So Tammy wanted to sit down just to make sure we're all on the same page.
So you want to, because we go on break, and she would like me to sit in on the meeting when we have it with you. So do you have any dates right now that you have available that I can get back to her? A couple of dates anyways?
Yep. Next Tuesday is fine.
Next Tuesday is
11th?
the 11th? No, no. How about the 25th?
Not in that week, no.
Okay. 19th, 20th?
20th will work fine.
Okay. I'll get a hold of Tammy and see if she's available, and then we can set something up.
Great.
Thanks, Mike.
Any other questions, Brenda?
Yeah, I have a couple for Mike, or not actually questions. I have an email from Marilyn Chichisma, who is a resident north of Nightingale. And they have the signs, new signs installed in Nightingale, the residential community. So she sent me an email with regards to the one sign being not, needs to be moved back away. So I'll just give this to you so that you can contact her. And that's the first one. I'll give it to Margaret. She'll make sure it gets to you. Next one, I guess you have this email. All of council has this email, and it's from Dennis Biggrass, and it's regarding Range Road 261, the north section of it. And he keeps requesting from me why we granted a permit on that road during the spring, right? And there's a soft spot to the north end where a creek or like it goes through. So, and according to this last email he sent me, Dave was supposed to let me know. I'm supposed to get back to him, but I didn't get that message. I haven't talked to Dave other than in this room. So I haven't had an opportunity to talk to him. So because permits are out of council's control, we do not do the permitting. It's the staff that does it. So, and his question is, who is liable and who pays for that road to be fixed up and all the good things. So I guess my question is because it's not in, permits aren't under control of the county, they fall under the CAO. Somebody needs to respond, or either that, or I should either forward this to the legal this afternoon and have her respond, or what exactly it is. What's your thoughts?
Make a quick comment. I think the best way to inform us and respond is to inform us on what that permit was for. I mean, I've had many residents in my area call and ask me about permits for going over that limit. If a farmer is hauling grain or trying to get grain out or cattle or whatever, and he's got a road ban on, this staff, this county is allowed to permit them one step up from whatever it's currently at. So I think maybe that might help clarify it, but I don't want this to look like this is like an isolated incident or something to that effect, because we do it for many situations in the county. So.
And through the chair, I realize that, except I have a ratepayer that's asking, I also would like to know, and I'll just,
Brenda, you'd asked for clarification on the letter, so I'm going to give Mike a chance, and maybe
yeah,
that'll
because
answer your...
I don't know how to
he was very
respond since it's
specific.
not within our jurisdiction.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. So through the chair, that's correct. We do ban periodically roads in the spring. Gravel roads this year we reintroduced. We hadn't banned those in a number of years. We saw a few problem roads that we knew were going to be an issue, so we banned them 50%, which basically means empty loads. Nothing but empty trailers can go through. We reassess that as we get requests. We do have a number of requests to reduce the limitations on that road and to lighten the ban. So we put a 75% on there, so a half load. This instance, we allowed a ratepayer to travel along that road and in very short order found that road wasn't able to handle that reduction in there. So we halted the hauling at that time and went back to, because it was under a permit, there's no restrictions on, or no bonding in place, nothing like that. It was granted under a reduced allowance or a reduced load limit on there. So basically, we went out after the fact, assessed the road. We know the road is poor, and we knew that if it was lightened, we were going to assess it and see if it could handle even a lighter load. We found at that time it couldn't, so we stopped it and have been, we did a fairly minor repair from what I see on it. And the road, talking with Mr. Biggrass on the weekend, he doesn't feel it's back up to the same standard as it was before. Our crews feel that it's near, if not the same as it was prior to this. For sure, it takes a little while to tighten back up, especially with the moisture in there. Over the next few weeks, they feel that it's going to be at the same, if not better, than it was before. So it did take a little while for it to recuperate on this one. And I guess basically it was kind of more of a test case for us to see what that road could handle with this. That's why we allowed the reduced load on it. And we know now that even a reduced load, it's more of a pilot, I guess you could say, to see if it was allowed on there. So it was a minor repair to fix it up, not much different than we'd repair any of the haul roads, just the final grading on it, that sort of thing. Brought in some gravel, but nothing excessive. So I guess in the end, we looked at it as a repair under our forces was what was necessary. I mean, no doubt the road needs to be rebuilt, and it was on the road program, as I think everyone knows, and was removed from the road program just because of a number of landowners not allowing us to enter on their lands and to backfill properly. So 2009, we removed it from that road program. It is on the road program again. We're going to retry it and see if thoughts have changed in the area. But not until 2025 is the next
You've been in contact with the ratepayer that had the questions?
I have, yes.
And you addressed all his concerns?
I've addressed them, yeah. Maybe not to satisfaction, but I've addressed them.
But they're addressed and...
That's
and you've
correct,
been-
yes.
Okay, thanks for that. Are there any other questions for?
So I guess my reply back will, when did you speak with Mr. Biggrass?
Through the chair, it was Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon you talked to him?
That's correct.
Okay. So I will just, yeah, because I haven't heard anything, and I received, well, we all received the email, so I will email him back saying that I understand that you've spoken with Michael, and that's all I can do.
Alice?
I had a question about the Chase Pit. I know we hauled 10,000 cubic yards out of there to the Hilltop to crush last year. And someone just called me the other day and asked when we were cleaning it up for reclamation. And I just said, well, right now we are in the process of making sure all the gravel is out of that pit before we start reclamation. So my question is it completed, or is there still gravel to be hauled?
Through the chair, I'll have to confirm on an exact schedule for that. I know I believe we had a little bit left there, if memory serves me correctly, so I'll have to confirm the actual numbers on that.
It appeared to me that there could be some gravel there,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. But definitely, we're not going to touch reclamation on it or start relaying any of the loam until we have it all stripped out totally.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Mike.
Yeah, I can respond back to that.
Any other questions? I just have one. Do you know when the dust control, or has it been completed on the haul route for the bio site haul route?
So through the chair, just to respond to that, the contractor or the developer does have a valid road use permit through us. They are waiting for they purchased a large amount of dust control through our program here. Unfortunately, our contractor had some machinery problems last week, so they were intended to actually install it last week, beginning of last week. They moved it to early this week. Once that dust control is on, they are anticipating on getting forward right away. So they haven't started hauling as far as I understand. But
So their road use agreement, does it have an end date, or it's just an agreement?
it's basically to the end of the year is what their insurance and bonding is good to. So I understand they are planning on quite a few months of hauling out of there. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Mover for Bernice? All in favor? Thank you, carried. Request for decision. Guess that one's done. Request for decision, land purchase portion of Southwest 32426 west of the 4th.
I'll move the request as presented.
Where is it?
Where is it? It's right in here. It's over by Cheadle. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a question, Alice?
Yeah, I just wondered which it was, but it's Cheadle area, so I'm okay.
Rex?
My motion is for the recommendation that the county approve the purchase of .68 on southwest of 32426-4 on 240.
Okay, any questions, Rex?
Yeah, so I am jumping ahead to 3.4C2 and comparing it to 3.4C1. And 2 states that servicing requirements. Sorry, I lost it here. There's. Thought it had stated, maybe I just misread it, that there's no development could happen on the parcel because there is no servicing.
That's not the motion I'm moving on.
This is 3.4C2.
This is what I'm asking about, but it doesn't read the same on one, so I'm just wondering what the difference is in the parcels, and maybe I'm misreading it now. I thought that it was saying that no development could happen because there was no services there.
What is this purchase for? Maybe that'll explain it. Mike?
Okay, so through the chair, the 3.4C2 is for the purchase of existing developed road, constructed road that's located on private lands. So this came up a number of months ago that this was a county road, a township road that was constructed on private lands. This is us just rectifying that issue. So that land will be incorporated into a road plan. I think through the chair, through Councillor Harwood's concerns are the developability of the roads here, of the parcel. Basically, this parcel is given a certain valuation depending on what the improvements are on it, as obviously there won't be any improvements or any servicing of a road there. That's where the value is set on that. I guess I can explain how we came on the valuation of the next RFD when we come up to that one.
There's a difference, like, I think where Rex, I'm not sure where he's coming from, but the difference is, one is the county is buying the property to clean up a road allowance issue. The other one is a landowner buying some property to.
Yeah, so I was reading through both of them, and yes, so, and it's 2 and 3, 3.4C2 and 3.4C3, not 1 and 2, so. Yes, that clarifies that, and I'll ask my next question on the next one.
Any other questions? Ben's moved the recommended action. All in favor? Carried. Request for decision, offer to purchase. Cheadle lot. Go ahead, Bernice.
It is across the highway. Also move the The right to purchase roll number 9229000 in the amount of $10,000.
Any questions? Rex?
Did I say it wrong?
We're on 3.4C3,
Yes.
right? Okay, so it's an isolated parcel, so are we saying that, how do they have access, for one? And two, if they do have access, then I'm just assuming that we're saying here, from what I can read, that it's not, you can't develop that parcel. So I guess just maybe if you could answer my question, I'm saying something about servicing. It's an isolated parcel. There's no servicing, so it cannot be developed. Not quite understanding that. It makes kind of no sense there.
Okay, so yeah, through the chair, basically, we received this request to purchase this land by the adjacent landowner. So the landowner actually does own the parcels on the east and the west of this parcel. So it came up to them. They actually thought they owned this parcel at one time. So when they were going through the tax notices, they noticed that it was a tax forfeiture from the county. Looking to, yes, for sure, it's below our minimum size for development. So they would have to consolidate in the future, at least under current guidelines. Nothing to say that we don't change those in the future if Cheadle does become a serviced hamlet. But as it sits right now, they're more just wanting to acquire that land so it doesn't go into separate ownership, and they can own basically a strip that has a potential for future development now. So they would still require to either ask for a variance or consolidate those parcels prior to any development under the current land use bylaw.
Answer your question, Rex?
Did it? Kind of.
Okay. Any other questions? Alice?
Just to make sure where we're sitting, is this 3.4.11 or 3 ones? Because there's 3 different recommendations here.
3.4C3.
3. So
Offer
we
to
missed.
purchase the
So we
Cheadle lot.
missed 2.
No, we've just done that one
We
and
did,
passed that.
there's 1.
One?
There's 3.41.
Yes, we've had a motion for
Or-
1,
Okay,
2,
we've done that,
and
fine.
now we're on 3.
3, thank you.
Offer to purchase the lot. Any questions? Bernice has moved. All in favor? Carried. Request for decision, 2017-19 Wheatland Sewer and Water Works.
I'll move first reading.
Ben, and advertise, have a public hearing on it?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, thanks, Mike. Thank you. And we'll have a Agricultural Community and Protective Services report, please. Good morning, Angie.
Good morning, Council. He's so tall. Yes, you have my report in front of you this morning. One of the main highlights, as you can see on the 3rd page, is the Hussar new fire tender. So Judy was kind enough to provide that photograph, which is on the 2nd or 3rd page. And there are some updated statistics with the planning report and the action tracking report has been updated right up until just a week or so ago. So everything you see in the action tracking report is up to date, and there's nothing new to add this morning from that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions? Alice?
Yeah, good morning, Angie. Through the chair, I got an email from Matt Hassan, Matt at Blue Con Calgary, where their subdivision or their approval for West Highway 1 has been sitting in limbo for 18 months. I'm sure you got a copy of that as well, did you? So he's not a very happy camper. And if everything that has gone on that he has said, I wouldn't be a happy camper either. That being said, I know this is addressed to Gary, and he's been supposed to have been looking after the project by the sound of it. So have you been able to, I sent him an email and told him to contact you, and I let Alan know as well. So have you been able to get a hold of this gentleman and, you know, have a conversation?
Through the chair, yes, Councillor Booth, we had a conversation on Thursday, I believe it was, and myself and Colton worked on it, and it was finalised on Friday. So we have finalised the application and endorsed everything, and he received that on Friday afternoon.
So then he's a happy man.
As I understand it, yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Angie, for that. I'm sure he will be happy as well. Thank you.
Any other questions? Motion to accept Angie's report. Rex is moved. No questions? Go ahead.
I wanted to ask the question, I see there's quite a few grain bags been shipped, 161. Now that's for the 2017, or is that 2016 and 17?
Sorry, which number you're looking at on page?
It's down on the plastic grain bags.
Yes.
Stats.
Yes.
So it says June the 5th, 161 have been shipped.
I believe that is up until June of this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's very good.
Yes.
Yeah, that people are using it to that. That's fantastic.
Yes,
And-
I spoke with a couple of the agricultural crew and Russ on Thursday, and he said that it's really picked up speed and there's a lot of positive talk and energy about that project.
So the shipping, did that go to the plastics, the Hatterache plastic plant? It's Green Acres?
Through the chair, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to check with.
It did on
Mr.
all.
Chairman,
all
I
way.
can confirm that, yes, it
Yeah.
has. And those numbers you see there under June, 5 bags were rolled in the month of June, 161 were shipped in June.
Yeah.
Year-to-date's 323.
Yeah.
And we've also received, I've received a number of calls, and so has Russ, from our counterparts in other counties, and Russ has talked to them as well. So it's getting provincial recognition, I guess, that there's efforts that we're doing, so.
Any other questions? Okay, thanks, Angie. We'll move on, correspondence items. Did we, I think we had a motion. Rex moved it. Did we vote on it? All in favor? Carried. Request for decision, correspondence items. Interagency minutes. Go ahead, Rex.
We're just going through correspondence.
Yeah, correspondence. Alice?
I did get a copy of that transmission map, but that's mainly, it affects in Ben's area, is that not right, Ben, by that map?
What map?
For the transmission on the towers?
We're
Did
on
you not get a
interagency
letter
right now.
Or an email?
That's just an application to AUB, Alberta Utility
Yeah.
Board, if anybody has any complaints. That's gone out to everybody that has wind towers in in the system somewhere that's got an application pending,
Yeah,
and they'll, AUB then decide who gets the call to go. Yeah, that's just information for us. That went to the AUB, Alberta Utilities. If you have any comments on it, you gotta send it into them by a certain date.
Okay, we're on interagency report. Any questions? We'll move on to a letter from Minister Miranda on Alberta sports, Alberta Summer Games. A letter from Carsland and District Community Association. Informing us on what they've used some of their funds for. Alberta Rural Health quarterly report. AUC, I think that's what Alice was talking about, Alberta Utilities Commission letter. And affordable housing, making life better. That was an announcement, and they're still working on the regulations. Number of pages there, as I remember. And K Division, Drumheller Barons. A long time to scroll through. That's the last one. Any questions on any of the correspondence? Any actions? Brenda?
Accepted as information.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, we'll have a break till 11 o'clock. Order. And we have an 11 a.m. appointment with a J. Souza. Go ahead. You know the procedure. There you go.
Smile at the crowd, wave to the councilors,
Okay.
and go.
Well, Bernice has a short question for you.
Yes.
I think everybody should know Jim is now a Canadian citizen. He just got it.
A proud Canadian citizen. My name is Jimmy Souza, and I am the project manager at the Lakes of Muirfield in Lyelta, Alberta. And I have been, I think it's worth noting that I have had that position for almost 11 years to the day. Ben, I think you were the only council around. You might remember we had the sod turning on June 26th of and Glenn, okay, yeah, we had the sod turning on June 26th of 2006. I flew back to Vancouver. I packed up my Jeep Cherokee, and on Canada Day 2006, I drove through the Rocky Mountains. So this is my 11th year, not only on Muirfield, but in the province of Alberta. And I can honestly say that in those 11 years, Under my shirt are a lot of black and blues and some scars that have healed, some scars that have yet to heal. But I'm standing here today with a smile on my face. And I can honestly say that I've never been happier in those 11 years. And I have to say that it starts within the walls of this building. And I mean that sincerely. I know she doesn't want me to say this, but your new planner is extraordinary. And I find it ironic. Yeah, I find it ironic that as an American, because I still have that passport too, Bernice, as an American on July 4th, we celebrate our independence from the British. And today I'm making a commitment to work with the British, which I think is fantastic. Yeah. So she needs to be commended because right after she was hired here, she reached out. Her and I swapped a couple of phone calls. We had great conversations. Then we met for a meeting of the minds. It was cordial, it was polite, and most of all, it was productive. And that's what I think, that's the corner that I think we're about to turn, you know, something we've all wanted. You guys have made that very clear. Every now and then I carry it with me, but for the most part, it sits in the trunk. But I did bring it at that meeting, and it was just so positive. I left there. In fact, if we could hold hands and do a cartwheel right in front of you right now, I would be willing to do that, but probably not professional. But what I'm saying is that I honestly believe that we're finally turning a corner, that really we should have a golden shovel and turn some sod today, because this is really what's happening now. And I'll get more specifically on the site, with what's going on the site. In the last 30 days on the calendar, Heather Dougal is sitting out there right now. Again, I know these people don't want to be pointed out, but she needs to be commended. She sold 25, Heather, I don't want to exaggerate on the number, 25 lots at Muirfield in the last 30 days on the calendar. We've not done that since 2007, when we sold out all the lots on that site in phase one and then had to take some of them back. Now, if you pull the titles on those lots, you'll see that some of them are still in the name of the developer, but they have firm contracts with non-refundable deposits, and over the next year on the calendar, those lots will convey to the buyers. In fact, one of the buyers is sitting there next to Heather. We've got 3 new builders on the site. We're just absolutely, there's so much positive energy going on that site right now that, like I said, we should probably have a golden shovel and turn the corner right now, because this is just fantastic. So I commend whoever hired this woman. I thank you guys for, you know, putting up with me for the last 11 years, and I'll take any questions that you might have in this moment.
Any questions? Ben?
Uh-oh.
Have you got a site? Have you got it in place? Is it guaranteed?
Excuse me?
He's wondering, what are you talking about, Ben?
Oh, you talk.
Wastewater.
Oh, you know what? There's someone else scheduled to speak at this meeting, and I just thought that I would let Mr. Maha handle any of those, since he knows more about that utility than I do specifically, but he can tell you, he can fill you in on the details and what we've come to terms in a memorandum of understanding and all those good things. So that it will be talked about, Ben. I just wanted to keep it light and, like I said, give you some positive feedback.
Don, I'm thinking you have a question.
Yeah, Jim.
Yes, sir.
More of a comment, and I asked it this morning too. Is there any way possible in the world that the original sellers of that land can be paid? It was a dying man's last wish.
You know, great question, first of all. And that dying man that you speak of, a couple of weeks before he passed, I shook Stan's hand. I handed him a couple of bucks that I thought he was entitled to, and I did everything that I could along the way before he passed away. Stan was my friend, just like he was your friend. To answer your question specifically, because it's not me writing that check, I have been told by the developer that when we start to turn a corner, that his estate will absolutely be paid back. I have been told that. Yeah, you're welcome, and thank you for the question.
Okay, any other questions? Alice?
I'm just going to keep this light. If I had a golden shovel, I'd be out there and have all of the councils doing that. Because I think this is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You guys have worked hard, everyone at Lake Samir.
Everybody in this room?
Yeah.
And let's not forget, there's a few residents out there, Bernice, that have, I look at Wilf, I look at Scotty, I look at Heather, and those people who, stood up for their, those are your ratepayers. So thank you for acknowledging that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That was Alice.
Oh, you and I have had so much conversation. It's only right in front of me. I speak Canadian now. You got to.
Any other
Elise.
questions?
Oh, I thought you had a question.
No questions?
I had maple syrup and poutine for breakfast. I've got my moose antlers out in the truck that I wear proudly. Well, it's funny because where I'm from, we say A as well. We just put it at the beginning of the sentence. We say, hey, how you doing? See, it's very subtle, a very subtle change. And nobody gives us a hard time. Any other questions? Anything that I can address?
Oh, we're all happy.
Sounds great. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Was there anyone else wanted to speak? Go ahead. Yeah, Bill, you're on the agenda too. So.
Well, that's good. Thank you. I was invited here by Jimmy. I thought I was just here to answer some questions, but I'll bring you up to date as to where we are. We also thank council for the new addition and planning that we are halfway through a development agreement, which is was our goal for years, and it's coming into fruition. We have, we'll know this week, tomorrow actually, there's meetings on, with a utility company that is looking seriously at being the utility company for La Alta, and that includes Muirfield and the homesteads. We have entered into an MOU with Muirfield that, on how that will happen between the sanitary sewer that we will provide and the water initially that they'll provide, and they will all become one utility as time goes by. The funding for the project is also a tomorrow meeting in Vancouver, and everything is looking positive and feeling positive. And so I'll answer questions if anybody has questions for us.
Brenda?
It's the same question that I think I asked you before, but when were you looking at turning dirt on this project and having some kind of a final draft on it?
Okay, we look at this as two projects now, sewer and water. The utility is a separate entity that we're dealing with. Hopefully, all things considered, if we have the final go-ahead this week, we've already started in the process. We have approached Alberta Environment and in modifying the approval that we have for a better system, we think. And we'll see, they've already indicated that, yeah, it's just a process. So if we get the approval on the funding tomorrow or shortly, we'll move ahead with the initial stages, which is finalizing an approval on the system, which would put us probably into construction by fall, or late fall, and throughout the winter. So the utility will move that way. The actual project will finish off the development agreement. We'd like to go into a grading permit per se this fall and get some grading done and make it look like a project. But realistically, we're probably next spring, summer for construction of housing.
Okay, Ben?
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
You want me to ask the question? So Bill, we're looking at a tertiary plant that will be built for both projects. Is that right?
We have the approval.
Yes. Yep.
Mic shut off. Thank you.
We have the approval for the lagoon and pipeline.
Right.
And we're looking at, because of the process and where we are and where Muirfield is and heading into positive areas, we're looking at a mechanical plant now.
Oh, okay.
So mechanical would be a continuous discharge, and so we still need the spray irrigation. We still need all of those other things that we have.
Okay.
But it's just whether it goes to lagoon or mechanical plant.
So that's the approval or the change you'll need
Yes.
with the environment.
Correct.
Yeah, shouldn't be an issue.
No, it's part of their approved, what do they call it? Code of practice. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, good.
So what's Plan B if it doesn't get approved? You don't have the approval yet, you don't have it.
If they don't approve that, then we have an approved system. We'll go back to it. We already have the lagoon approved.
Okay.
So it's sitting there. We just want to, we want to move ahead with more lots is what we want to do. That would have been the second stage of the lagoon anyway, is mechanical treatment.
Any other questions? Just so everyone's clear, the second stage, mechanical is another word for it, is tertiary treat, right?
Yeah,
the
it's
same.
tertiary treated water, but there's aeration and then there's a tertiary type plant like Langdon has. So there's 3 stages you typically go through. We want to go to the second. Lagoon is first, mechanical or aeration would be second, and then tertiary treated water could be a fully plant like City of Calgary has, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Just so I'm not clear in my head, so this is for Homestead. This is all in place for Homestead with agreements with Muirfield, Lakes of Muirfield, that it's the same system that they'll be using?
It's for both projects, correct.
And those agreements are all signed?
They are signed. We've gone through that with Muirfield. Our next step is to get the utility company in place and have agreements that the county wants copies of with them for servicing.
Anything else? Rex?
So what's the timeline in your mind to get this done? Because at some point, if that pushes out another 5 years or another 10 years, we still have a development issue, right? So I think this council has been more than apt to work with the developers and allow development to happen again and move forward. So, you know, we say 6 months, we say a year, we say 6 months, we say a year. And I was sitting in this chair 4 years ago when yourself and some of the other proponents of the utility were here saying this has to be done now, and we're sitting here 4 years, and we went back and forth to different solutions, and now we're coming back to what we discussed that day. I understand. This is for clarification, a pipeline that would go to Catalan that would turn into a utility plant that would use the water for irrigation, that sort of scenario. So I guess that's my one question. And what's our timeline that we're looking at here?
I have to take a deep breath before I answer you because I could go a different direction right now and say, we spent the last 2 years to get subdivision approval. We had to take it to the municipal government. And that's where the time has gone and the time period that you're talking about. That being said, we're looking forward, not back. And as I answered the question earlier, we're looking at if we have the approval from Alberta Environment on the new mechanical system, we will be under construction this fall. Okay? And that would be completed throughout the winter for next spring. If we don't get approval from Environment for a mechanical system, then we can start right now, subject to the agreement with the county on the road allowances. We're trying to minimize that. So either way, it's this fall.
Okay, any other questions? Thanks. Thanks for the update. Good luck.
And we'd just like to take this opportunity to welcome Jimmy to Canada. Finally coming to Canada. We've seen the light. Thank you.
Okay. I have time, or if anybody else wants to say anything, or not? like to thank everyone for coming in. And, yeah, we'll look forward to getting some firm construction dates and actually seeing some work being done. Okay, thanks for coming in. Yes, for sure. And with that, is there anything else? Oh, motion to accept. Bernice, or Brenda, all in favor? Carried. Is there anything else before we break for lunch? I believe I got everything crossed off the agenda. Okay, we'll break for lunch. Be back here at 1 o'clock. And it's be in camera at 1 o'clock for a lawyer.